So a weird thing happened last week that I think will be really valuable to you, especially if your business isn't growing like you want, and maybe you complain sometimes about not having enough leads and things like that. We had an event here in this studio, and we were talking about advanced money lever strategies. And I won't get into that here, but essentially, building a business is hard. And if you want to make a lot of money and build a machine that can make money without you, there's like a lot of stuff you gotta learn, right? But sometimes we forget the basics. And so in front of a small crowd, I started calling some service companies. So this studio is on a property down here in the Dallas area, and there's a lot of other buildings outside of the studio, and I thought, I'll just call and get some quotes for window cleaning. I'm gonna call a company and get a quote for window cleaning on this whole property. Sometimes people that are complaining about not having enough money and not enough leads, they don't even answer their phone. In fact, most small service companies don't answer their phone at all. In business, there's this concept called speed to lead. Speed by itself is an automatic competitive advantage. And if your schedule isn't full, then by definition, you should have extra time, right? You can't have tons of money and tons of time necessarily, but if you're not having a lot of money, you probably have a lot of time. So why aren't you answering the phone? So anyway, I called the first company, and it rings, 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 and it goes to voicemail. I didn't leave a message because most people don't want to leave a message. They have a problem that they want solved. So I called the next company, and it rang, 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 and it went to voicemail again. And I'm doing this live in front of our little audience here, and the third person answered their phone. But the thing is Chris, who I got to meet, and we have some footage of Chris, he came out immediately, gave us a quote, we hired him, he made $700 because he answered his phone. So that's lesson number one. But even Chris, as a stage one business owner, there's things missing that could really help him make a lot more money. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a great person who works hard, who loves his family. He's a dad. He's not doing anything wrong. But if he wants to make more money and build something that can work without him, there's a whole bunch of lessons that I want to talk about. And the first one is the fact that when Chris answered, he was in his truck. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, is this a window cleaning business?
Yes, this is.
Now, when you're first starting out small, just like I did, you don't have a choice. You got to answer the phone when you're in your truck, right? But Chris answered the phone and said, hello. He didn't answer as a company, he just said hello. And then I had to say to him, I said, is this a window cleaning company? And he's like, yeah, it's a window cleaning company. Then he was very friendly and he was very prompt on doing the estimate, and all that was good. But even little things like that actually matter for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is when someone answers their phone and just says hello, then to me, this is gonna be a low-priced service provider. So if I got a quote that was more than what it felt like it should cost based on my interaction on the phone, that would break my frame of reference and I probably wouldn't hire him. Now, of course, I connected with Chris. By sheer luck, he actually had heard of me before through a mutual friend named Keith Kalfas. If you don't follow Keith Kalfas, he's probably helped more people start window cleaning businesses than anyone in the world at this point. So shout out, much love to Keith Kalfas. And Chris was a fan of Keith and had heard of me, which made it even more interesting. Yeah, I was just calling to see if I can get a quote.
Yeah, how many windows do you have?
I'm not sure exactly. It's actually a commercial building. Yeah, it's.
Is this really Joshua Latimer?
What's that?
Is this really Joshua Latimer?
Yes. Do you know who I am?
I mean, I believe I do.
Now, over the next few minutes, I just want to break down some things that a stage one business owner can think about if they want to make more money and grow faster. So first, let me explain what the 5 stages are. This is something I kind of coined years ago, and people teach similar structures to this because this is the way it works. This is my version of it. If you're a stage one service business owner, that means that 50% or more of your time is spent doing the thing. That means you're the guy doing the thing. You're cleaning the carpet or digging the ditch, mowing the lawn, cleaning the window. If 50% or more of your time is spent doing that, then you're stage one. Stage two is when you're in the admin phase. In admin phase for stage two, what that looks like, you're still in the field doing stuff, but your truck might be full of sticky notes, right? Or you have a bunch of missed calls. Part of your time is going to the bank and doing administrative things in your CRM. There's some technology stuff, but you're still in the field. You're kind of doing it all. It's a tough spot to be in, but all of us have to go through it on our way to stage 5. Stage 3 is what I called feeding the beast. Now, if you're a stage 3 business owner, you're probably doing about $500,000, maybe $700,000 in revenue, something like that. It depends on your industry. But your core job, 50% or more of your time, is figuring out how to keep your calendar full so all of your technicians get the hours that they need. You know, when you're small, you're just trying to survive. And as it starts to scale up to stage 2 and stage 3, now you have other mouths to feed. And so your stress comes from keeping them busy, giving them 40 hours a week so they don't quit. And with a service company, especially a seasonal service company, that's challenging, right? And so if 50% or more of your time is figuring out how to keep the next week's schedule full, you're probably stage 3, but you have to have an office administrator hired that does all of that stuff for you, and you have technicians that do all of the field work for you. So if you meet those criteria, you're stage 3. Stage 4 is when you move to a general manager role. And this is where it gets kind of exciting. You can make pretty good money with a stage 4 business, and you're really the leader of leaders at this point. So what this looks like is you have a sales team, you have an admin team, and you have a production team, you know, people in the field doing the thing, building the retaining wall, you know, cleaning the windows, whatever. And you have these leaders over these departments, and you're the boss of the leaders, right? You're kind of like a CEO or general manager of your business. And your job in some ways gets a little bit more boring, but you can start making a lot more money. You know, you're going to be looking at numbers. You're going to be holding people accountable. Your job is to level up the leaders so they can level up the people that they're leading. If this describes you, then you're a stage 4 business. A stage 5 business is someone who is truly an owner. And, you know, I think people exaggerate the whole mailbox money concept, especially when it comes to a local service business, because the truth is, even if you're doing $3, $4, $5 million, in 95% of cases, the owner still has to get involved. They still put out dumpster fires from time to time. And it's not truly passive most of the time until you get to really, really big numbers. But stage 5 basically means that you could leave the state for a month, and when you came back, not only is the business okay, but it grew while you were gone. So if you can take your hands off it completely and it grows, it's like the vacation test, well then congratulations, you're stage 5. So let me just give a few quick tips to any stage 1 business owners on there that want to not get trapped there forever. Tip number 1 is to start blocking time out of your calendar for bog marketing. If you're doing just $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, if you're stage 1, what's critical for you to understand is that you have to have dedicated time on your calendar where you do not do any services at all. You're only drumming up momentum, meeting people, shaking hands, kissing babies, networking, giving quotes to people that didn't even ask for it, knocking doors, passing out flyers, going to the chamber event. You're building momentum on the lead generation side of your business. And it's actually really simple. But what happens is stage 1 business owners, they'll schedule one job for, you know, at noon on Tuesday, and it kind of throws off your whole day because you'll get up and you're kind of waiting to get ready to go do that job, and then you go do it, and then you kind of come back and it's like the day is kind of wasted because of one job. So instead, make Monday or Tuesday example walled off. You do not schedule any work under any circumstances on Mondays and Tuesdays, and you got to make a decision to draw a line in the sand. You schedule everything Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, go do the work then, but Monday and Tuesday is sacred time because if you're serious about getting out of stage 1, this has to happen. Tip number 2, if you're a stage 1 business owner, is to raise your prices right now. Because the thing that maybe you don't see is that you have to pay for stuff in the future that you don't have to pay for now. And when you're a stage 5 business, you're going to have expenses that you're not realizing yet. It might be an office. It might be more sophisticated forms of insurance, right? You're going to have employees and payroll tax. You're going to have maybe better equipment to increase efficiency. And all these things, you're not paying for them right now. So it feels okay to charge a smaller price. And you hear people tell kids, act your age, right? don't act your age when it comes to your business. You need to act like the 5 years in the future age of your business right now. And so you need to think about, what is it going to cost when I have a fully built out team and all the expense that's hanging off of that? And you might make $100 an hour and think that's really great. Chances are it needs to be like $200 an hour to support the infrastructure of this thing that you're building. Tip number 3 is to work on personal development, because by far the number one reason people get stuck in stage 1 forever is mindset. That's just what it is. If you don't like that, that's not my problem, that's your problem. But it's between the ears, it's beliefs, it's the way you view money, it's what you think of yourself, what you think you're worthy of, let alone what you think you're capable of. And what you need to do is you need to be willing to pay money to get in different rooms with people who are ahead of you, because it transfers onto you, it leaks out, it bleeds onto you. Belief can be borrowed. Did you know that? You can borrow belief from people ahead of you. So whether it's an online community, or you hire a coach, or you do something, go to an event, read different books, you need to change the proximity of the people that are speaking into your life, or you might get trapped in stage 1 forever. Tip number 4 is to get way better at sales. You know, service companies feel like a transactional business. And so people call you and they're like, yeah, I want this thing, how much is it? And then you tell them and they say yes, and you think that you just did sales. It's like barely even sales, right? It's like they already wanted it, then you just gave it to them, right? And so what we want to do, because you're going to be raising your prices and you're going to be blocking time now, if you're following my tips, you're going to have more at-bats. And we need to read books and understand how to level up our sales game. Sales isn't about convincing people of stuff. It's not about pushing and bullying people into stuff. It's really about listening to what people are saying. It's about noticing nuance. Because, for example, you might notice that you get a higher average ticket every time you're passing out flyers in this neighborhood, and you get a low one when you pass them out in this neighborhood. You up-leveling your sales game is up-leveling who you're targeting in the first place and what problems you're solving, right? You're going to want to test the edges on your pricing and take some risks, because we want to figure out how far can we push it. And the reason this is important isn't because you're greedy and you're going to go buy hot tubs all over and jet skis. It's not about that. It's about your skills. Because true success in any business comes down to sales and marketing. It's really math and sales and marketing. Like, those are the superpowers that all the high achievers have that everybody else is avoiding. Learning how to overcome people's objections before they even think them, before they even say them. Learning how to handle phone calls better to properly pre-frame your value in the first place, right? Sales is a big topic. Start going down the rabbit hole now. And tip number 5, if you're not already doing this, is to start bundling your services. Now, when I call a small, especially a stage 1 business owner, and want a price for something, they usually give me what I asked for, which is a price for something. But that's a huge mistake, and they're leaving huge amounts of money on the table. What should be happening is they should be giving me pricing for all of the stuff I didn't even ask for, along with the price that I asked for. So part 1 of this is make sure you quote all the stuff you do, even if they didn't ask for it. That way you have a record of it and they might be interested in it. But part number 2 is to bundle these things into packages. So Chris that came and cleaned our windows here, it wasn't really a package. He did do some power washing and some window cleaning, but we didn't get pricing for every other type of variation as far as I know, but that would be a really good idea. If you're selling to homeowners, you don't want to give people yes or no options. You want to give them either or options. So if you say your price is $200 to clean your windows, that's a yes or no. If you say we have 2 packages to clean your windows, the deluxe or the premium, that's an either or. And your close rate will go up, your average ticket will go up, and you'll make more money. So you start experimenting with these things. Once your confidence is built up, your business is going to get to a place where you'll graduate to stage 2 and then to stage 3, and it will keep going. And yes, there's more to learn than that, and that might seem simple, but even for some of you guys with $1 or $2 million businesses, you probably forgot to do some of the basics. And there's a lot of money in the boring, and there's a lot of money in the basics. So I hope this was valuable for you. I want to wish Chris the best. You know, he's local to our studio down here. We'll definitely have him back out. He did a phenomenal job on our building, so the quality of work was top notch. And we just want small entrepreneur families to win, because the reality is the stage 1 business is risky. You know, if you get hit by a bus, you don't have any money. If you get sick, you don't have any money. You don't have something that's easy to sell. And so there's not much of an asset there. Plus, our bodies get older, we break down, our knees start hurting, and we want to have a plan to be free from the business so we're not a slave. So I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, comment below, like it, share it with someone who's stage 1, who's a good person, who deserves to build something bigger and have a bigger reward. I hope this was useful to you. Take care. God bless. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't already, we have a free coaching community on School. If you go to warplan.com, it'll direct you to our School group, and what is in there are hundreds of documents. There's training series, courses, downloadables, and most importantly, there's a warm community of good-hearted people like you trying to level up. They're getting better at marketing and numbers. We're sharing tips and tricks and insider secrets with each other. You might as well get in there. It's free, at least it is for now. Go to warplan.com, and I'll see you on the inside.